What is going on, gentlemen? So we're gonna do something a little bit different today, okay? Because I'm gonna do a day in the life, a daily vlog, whatever you wanna call it, which I'm not really, doing on a daily basis. I haven't really done these, so bear with me, all right? Now, we're standing in the middle of my new apartment. So there is not a lot of stuff here yet. I haven't bought too many things, but that will come. And right now, the time's about 9:50, all right? I woke up at about 8:30. Actually, that's a lie. 10 minutes past 8, I woke up. So I've been awake for a good while. And what I've done is work. So not anything fun. What you're seeing here is the bedroom, all right? Now that right there is where the magic happens. Just kidding, zero magic happens in there, but that's where it's supposed to happen. Now we walk over here, we walk through the living room and right into the actual office. So this is where I've been working this morning. Of course, we have the essentials. We have the nicotine pouches, we have caffeine, we have sparkling water, we have more caffeine in that cup right there. So that is what I've spent my morning doing. And as I said, right now it's 9:50. I have an in-person meeting at about 10:30, all right? Now, when I return from that in-person meeting, I have a digital meeting at about 1 p.m. So once those meetings are both out the door, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in the gym, all right? Now, if you're wondering if I have some, supernatural morning routine, I wake up, I do 7,000 push-ups and things of that nature. No, I wake up and I immediately rush right over here and I make my espresso, all right? And that's my morning routine right there. So there's nothing magical about it. Espresso, straight to work, meetings, another meeting, gym, boom, that's the day done. So not a super exciting vlog here today, but I figured, might as well record a realistic vlog because, it's not always fun. It's not supposed to be fun all the time. If it is, you are either a billionaire or you're doing something wrong. So that's it. Hopefully you guys will watch along. If you don't want to, go ahead and tap out the video. If you do want to, I'm not gonna promise it's gonna be a lot of fun, all right? So we'll see what the day brings, and I hopefully will take you guys along with me. Right now I'm recording on my camera, which does not have, a great microphone. So bear with me in terms of the sound. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful morning here. Certainly can't complain. So we're about to head out the door for the first meeting, which is an in-person one. So that's really what's going on. I am absolutely starving because I didn't really have time to order any food this morning. I really don't ever cook. I don't even think I have one pan, and I think I have one plate here. Ever since I moved into the apartment, I haven't cooked once. Literally, I just order food. Because first of all, it saves you time, right? Because people don't really think about this, but when you cook on your own, you spend time driving or walking to the grocery store. You spend time trying to figure out what you want to eat. You spend time trying to find that in the actual grocery store. You got to go all the way back home. Then you got to cook your food. And you got to clean all the stuff that you use to cook your food. So it's actually not a waste of time, depending on how you look at it, but you spend a lot of time cooking. So you save a lot of time by ordering food. Yeah, that's really my analogy. It's probably just an excuse to want to order food because I'm lazy when it comes to making food. But that's the excuse I give myself. So we are gonna go do that goddamn meeting, and then we'll get back. We'll have another meeting, and then we'll hopefully be able to hit the gym and find some food in between. So let's go ahead and do that and get that done right now. Now, of course, we gotta rock the loafers, but I did just wear these on a night out. So that's really it. That's the footwear for today. Right here, we're looking at all the takeaway that I eat on a daily basis. I think I do order food about 3 times per day. So it also means going down with the trash quite a bit. So yeah, don't mind the bags. Those are just food. Now, let's get the hell out of this apartment and go get that meeting done. So we made it back to the apartment. It is currently about 1:30 p.m. I don't actually have my phone on me, so I can't show you, but it took a little longer than anticipated because I ran into a friend. we decided to go grab lunch, have a quick coffee, chit chat, you know what it is. So it took a little longer than anticipated. Also, just the meeting itself did, take a little longer than anticipated. I had to sign a bunch of papers. And so, yeah, just took up way more time than I thought it would. So now the plan is basically to work until I'm gonna go to the gym. It is extremely hot right now, which is why I am covering the windows, because that kind of helps push the heat away. Because when you live in an apartment where 90% of it is basically made out of glass, it's very nice, but when the sun is shining right on or through the glass, it basically turns the entire apartment into a sauna, right? So actually the sun is kind of gone now. So other than that, it's basically just work. Not very much exciting stuff on the agenda today. Now what might happen is maybe tonight I'll go ahead and drop by my cigar dealer, if you will, and pick up a few new cigars, because I am kind of running dry. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see if that's on the agenda or not. It kind of depends on how much work I have to do and how long the gym is going to take, because of course we have to have priorities, and cigars is a priority, but it's not a main priority. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now I'm gonna go ahead, jump on the computer, respond to different emails if there's any emails that needs respond to different people, and yeah, basically all the boring work is ahead of us. So let's go ahead and get that started. But before we do that, and there we go. We click this one because we want a lot of coffee, and that's it. So I just wanted to come on here and basically give my opinion on Bitcoin as a whole, because as you guys might know, Bitcoin has recently hit a new all-time high, which the previous one was 112,000, and we're now moving up and have actually hit 123,000, which is just insane. If we take imbalances, inefficiencies, fair value gaps into consideration, I think it becomes very clear where Bitcoin is headed next. You see, if we pay attention to previous price action, well, then you can see that quite literally every single time that Bitcoin creates one of these fairly large inefficiencies within the market, well, then it has a retracement into the inefficiency before then headed higher or lower. Now, with this massive move up that we recently had, because the global M2 absolutely exploded, we also created a fairly large inefficiency, which is exactly where I think Bitcoin is headed next. If we look at the previous Bitcoin halvings, well then 500 days after a Bitcoin halving, that's kind of when you can anticipate the bear market to begin. And we're actually closing up on the 500-day mark. Now, do I think that we can trust that? And do I think that Bitcoin is headed right into a bear market? No, not necessarily, because this cycle is so different than any other cycle that we've ever seen. In 2024, Bitcoin ETFs were approved, right? That's the first time that we've seen that in any cycle. When that happened, well then that pulled forward institutional demand way earlier than it has done in previous cycles. So because of all that, and obviously Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, and all these different geopolitical tensions, well then this cycle is going to be entirely different. And that's kind of why I don't want to take previous cycles into consideration when I'm doing analysis this cycle. You'll have many influencers that'll tell you, oh, you gotta avoid red news folders, and I completely disagree. If you are a day trader, I think the best time for you to trade is actually when there is a lot of volatility in the market, which again is going to be on days with red news folders. So don't listen to all the people that will tell you, you should completely avoid days with volatility. No, that's exactly when you want to trade. I am absolutely a ghost here. Because again, why the hell would I want to trade if there's no volatility? I don't want to trade a flat market, right? Nobody wants to trade a flat market. And the easiest way to avoid trading a flat market is to simply only look for opportunity when there is a lot of economic data, and if there's not, well then do not trade, especially on Mondays. All right, that's a little tip for all of you watching. So I ordered internet for my apartment about a week ago, but they've been busy ever since. So finally, there's some people here to set it up because I have been operating off my hotspot. So that's awesome. I'm gonna go down, let them in, take them off the elevator, and they'll go ahead and install all of that. So I'll do that real quick, and then hopefully we'll jump right into the gym after that is done. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, but we'll find out. So the guys were just here to set up the internet. Now I paid a company to go ahead and come to the apartment and set up fiber internet, okay? I've only been in this apartment for about 5 days or so, and I contacted them about a week ago. So I've been waiting a week for these guys to come because they ran into some issues. That's why it took longer, whatever, right? They arrive, They look at the cables, they tell me, well, fiber actually cannot be installed in this apartment for whatever reason. Something about the apartment being new, this, that, and the other, they couldn't install it. Even though when I initially contacted that company, they said, yeah, no problem, we're gonna be able to install in your apartment. They come here, they say they can't. So currently, no internet. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have to make my way to another internet provider's office, and I'm gonna have to set up something different than fiber internet. Now, is it the end of the world? No. Could I sit down and be annoyed? Yes. Is it gonna make a change? No. So we are not gonna worry too much about that because unfortunately there is not a lot we can do. We're gonna wait until tomorrow and hopefully the next internet provider will be a whole lot better than the one I had here today. So now it is time for the gym. I have something I need to do in the office right before that, and then I will head on over to the gym. We'll hit shoulders and arms, you know, great day. We love a shoulder and arm pump. So that's what's on the agenda. Now again, I do have to fix some stuff in the office. Once I've done that, I'll make my way to the gym. Now I don't know if I'll be recording in this gym. It is a new gym for me. So I don't know their policies regarding, you know, recording. So if I can record, I will. If I cannot, I can't. One thing is for sure, you will be able to see the pump once the workout is done. So again, cardio, arms, shoulders, quickly finish up the office, and then out the doors. So the vast majority of that boring work is now done, which again is just answering emails, answering team members, talking to a couple new hires. Now that that is done, all there's left for me to do is really go to the gym. Once I'm done with the gym, I have a video that needs recording. Now I try to get a lot of my work done a little bit later in the day because here in summer, it's simply just too hot for me to focus properly. So that right there is the only AC that I have in the house. So, or in the apartment. So that means I will probably have to get a new AC installed because that right there is not enough to make the entire apartment the temperature which I wanted. And so during the day, it becomes extremely hard for me to focus because sometimes my office is just way too hot, which is actually also the reason, I'm not sure if it's too dark in here. That's also the reason why these blinds are on, because it simply gets too hot if there's just sun boiling at the window fucking 24 hours a day. To avoid that, I shut the blinds and I work. So I'll see if I can get anything done. Other than that, I will see you either in the gym or when I get back from the gym. Now, of course, gotta bring down the trash, all right? So what we're gonna do now is head straight to the gym because we are gonna catch a massive, massive pump. And that's gonna add clarity for tonight's work session. So, let's go. Made it back from the gym. That was a nice little session. Unfortunately, I did not get a lot of clips because again, I was not very familiar with their policy. I didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable, but I did get a few shots of the finishing cardio, which was a little bit of bag work as well as jump roping because again, you know, gotta go back to my roots. I have not boxed for a little while, but once I'm fully settled in the apartment, I'm gonna start boxing again because that's something I've done for the vast majority of my life. So once I start doing that, it's gonna be absolutely amazing. But until then, we're gonna have to just use the one at the gym. Now, I'm gonna shower, and for obvious reasons, I'm not gonna record that. I know a lot of you out there probably would like to see that, but due to guidelines and stuff like that, we're not gonna be doing that today. All right, so we're about to order food. I'm gonna get Basically just meat, bread, cabbage, and these spicy things, like a pepper almost, right? So, as you might be able to tell, food is now ordered. It'll be here in like 20 to 30 minutes. So a person like me, I like working in the morning, so I'll typically wake up at about 6 or 7. I'll work from 6 or 7 till about 1 or 2 p.m. Then I'll go to the gym, then I'll go eat, I'll do all these things throughout the day, and then I'll work again at night. So that's basically how I structure my work, how I have structured my work for the vast majority of my career. Now, of course, in the beginning stages of my entrepreneurial journey, I was working all day, every day. There was no such thing as, not working throughout the day. No, I woke up, worked until I went to bed every single day for about 2 years straight. Now, because I'm more experienced and I can sit down and actually focus on what it is I'm supposed to do, I can schedule my work a little bit better than I could back then, because that was more procrastination. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do, so I was just sort of working a little bit throughout the entire day. But now I've found that if I just sit down and fully concentrate for about 6 hours, I can get 20 hours of work done in a matter of 6 hours if I seriously just lock in on work and purely focus on that. So a mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make is that they think sitting in front of the screen all day is a way of working really hard. Now, it can be if you're doing the correct things, but I don't think the vast majority of people can actually focus on a task for that long at a time. Try and give yourself a 3 or 4 hour window where you say, okay, in this time period, I'm only gonna focus on work. This is what I'm gonna focus on, and I guarantee you, you will get so much more done. So if we compare me now to me 3 years ago, I can get the same amount of work done in a matter of 3 hours as I could in 4 or 5 days 2 years ago. Because again, it comes with experience, but I'm telling you now, try and pick a few hours a day where you just sit down and actually work, and I guarantee you, you will get so much more done because there's less procrastination. So what I'm gonna do now is respond to an email. I did just get an email that I've been waiting for, so I'm gonna go ahead, read that and respond to it, and when that is done, my food should be right around the corner. So food is here. We got cabbage, all right? Now this was some sort of vinegar on it. Then we got the peppers I was talking about. Now these might not look very good right now, but I guarantee you these are so good. Then we got some meat. Now this might not look like a lot and it might not look very good, but this right here, now I've been to a lot of very high-end expensive restaurants, and this might just beat every single one of them. Just a regular old mom and pop store cooking meat on a grill, but I've never tasted anything like this in my entire life. So I'm gonna eat this food, and once I'm done with eating, I will go down with the trash, and then I will get right back to work. Bro, these peppers are hot as Bro, what the was in that? I don't know what they put in the peppers today, but my goodness. Now they also forgot my bread, so not the experience that I usually get, unfortunately, but what we're gonna do now is, again, go straight to work. I have some things that I wanna finish. That's exactly what we're gonna do now. Again, this vlog was not meant to be, super exciting. It was meant to show the raw reality of, a day in my life. And this was even a more sort of exciting day because, I went out for the meeting, I went for lunch with my friends. Obviously you guys didn't see that, but usually it's quite literally just me in this room for about 10 hours a day or so. If I'm not in there, I'm right here, reading or eating or doing something. I'm 21 years old. I moved away from my hometown, basically my home country actually. So now I'm at a place where I don't even have that many people to hang out with. And you might sit there and ask, well, isn't that annoying or isn't that lonely? No, that's why I did it, right? I moved away because I didn't want to be in the same position that I was in, and I did not want to be with the same people who were not as ambitious as me. Now, there's no hate to any of those people. It's simply a matter of trying my absolute best possible to break my comfort zones, and that might sound very cliche and whatnot. I don't know why my camera has such a hard time focusing. That might sound very cliche and whatnot, but it's very, very true. I have never gotten as much work done as I have ever since I moved. Meeting new people, going out there, doing things you don't want to do. You're used to hanging out with the same people every single day, basically ever since you were born, if you still live in the same hometown. Now, can you expect to grow in an environment like that? Not really. I mean, you can, but I prefer to do it this way. I've always preferred to do the things which I don't want to do because I've found that that's simply what's been the most beneficial to me on a personal level, but also on a business level. So every single time I break my comfort zone, every single time I do something I don't want to do, everything else becomes easier. I believe David Goggins said this. Do the hard things so that the hard things become easy, all right? The things you don't want to do is exactly what you should be doing. So not too long ago, I had a boxing fight in Dubai. Did I want to do that? Not really. I'm going to a country by myself to box somebody I don't know. Did I want to do that? Absolutely not. Did I do it anyway? Absolutely. Right? The reason why I did it is because I didn't want to do it, right? Same as this. I was contemplating for a while, just moving away from everything, focusing on my businesses, myself, and things of that nature. But I didn't do it because it was, a huge step and something that a lot of people don't really do throughout a lifetime. And that's exactly why I did it. It's also the small things, such as you wake up, you don't want to work. Well, that's exactly when you should work. You wake up, you don't want to go for a run. Well, that's exactly when you should go for a run. I have developed such a mindset that whenever my mind tells me I don't want to do this, I have to do that thing. Whether that's making my bed in the morning, if I don't want to do it, I have to do it. If I told myself I was going to do something, you better believe that I'm going to do it. Because, just like David Goggins said as well, if you don't do it and you let your mind win, well then you essentially let in all these demons that you really do not want to let in. So every single time you get a thought of, I don't want to do this, do it. Because if you don't, you are letting all these demons in that will eventually be your downfall. And that's really, really, really true. Because what do most people do when they don't want to do something? Well, they don't do it, right? And I imagine that the vast majority of you watching this video don't want to be like everybody else. You do not want to be like everyone else. And so you have to do what they don't, because if you do what they do, well then there's basically no way you don't end up like them. So if everyone who has not accomplished what you want do one thing, you probably shouldn't do that one thing, right? I mean, they don't want to do the things which they don't want to do, which makes sense, right? Of course, they don't want to do it, so they don't do it. Now, that's where you're supposed to stand out, because you want to achieve things that they are not achieving. So whenever something pops up that you don't want to do, force yourself to do it. Because the more you do these things which you don't want to do, the easier they become along the way. So again, referring back to the original quote, do the things that are hard so that the hard things become easy. So as you guys just saw, I finished up a bunch of work and I'm actually gonna go ahead and jump right back into that. So because I'm just gonna work, then I'm gonna read in my book and then go to sleep, we're gonna end the vlog right here. Now remember, this is basically my first time doing this, which also explains the length of this video. This was also not meant to be an exciting vlog. It was more of a realistic day in the life as a 21-year-old entrepreneur. So that is exactly what the video reflects. Now, I hope you enjoyed either way. And if you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I promise to return with more content.